I cannot for the life of me figure out why any sane couple would keep a doll like that in their child's bedroom. It's like me going up to my kid and being like, hey honey, time for bed. Don't forget to kiss your hellspawn goodnight before you go. I knew I'd find a use for that doll one day. So, Annabelle. Saw it last night. I was going to do this review then, but I had to pick up my copy of Super Smash Bros. And I was not going to really avoid playing that to do a review, so sorry if this is a little late. Annabelle's the story of a white bread couple who they buy a doll, and the doll's already terrifying, and things get a bit more terrifying when the doll ends up being possessed by a demon, and crazy James Wan-esque hijinks ensues. I didn't have the highest expectations for this movie, admittedly, especially when the reviews started coming in and were very negative. That being said, I didn't hate it. In terms of acting was fine. It was nothing fantastic, nothing below average. It was just very, very flat, very passable. In terms of directing and cinematography, Leonetti didn't do a bad job, and that's really the opposite of what I was expecting. He did a really good job at imitating James Wan's style, while still keeping enough of his own in there that it didn't really... There were scenes where I felt like I could have been watching a James Wan movie. He did a very good job at like building some brilliant atmosphere in some scenes, but then there were other scenes that fell kind of flat and were ultimately a bit silly. My main problems with the movie came from just general horror movie stupidity, where it's the 1970s and the Manson family is still a thing, and you've got this middle class American couple who are going out to church every Sunday and leaving their doors unlocked while there's like crazy cult activity in the area. And so things like that bothered me. I found that to be a little irritating. And then my main problem came from the ending, which just overall felt very rushed, and I won't spoil anything, but I felt as though they didn't know how to wrap the film up, and so they just kind of just slapped an ending on there and were like, here, you can go release it quick. In terms of the actual horror aspects of the movie, I think it was pretty good. There are a lot of jump scares, and personally, I'm not a person who appreciates jump scares as a scare tactic, because it's not... One, it's not scary, and two, it's... You're not actually getting scared, it's your body reacting to the whole fight or flight response. But that being said, yeah, there were a lot of jump scares, but there were a couple of very actually freaky scenes. And the freakiest scenes in the movie, one, didn't even involve the doll. If you've seen it, I think you know what scenes I'm talking about. Well, one of them kind of involved the doll, but I think you know what scenes I'm referring to when I say those scenes didn't involve the doll. But there were 3 scenes in particular that I'm talking about that were genuinely freaky. Like they were even making me go, like I was backing up and be like, whoa, that is fucked up. Like I said, I didn't hate the movie. I think it was a halfway decent horror movie. I think it had its flaws, but... And if they had worked on them a little more, I think, and they tried and smooth those out, I think it would have actually been a good horror movie. But I think the problems come from the fact that the writing is a bit sloppy at times, as I said, and the ending is just very rushed. And I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed when they go into this, because I feel like a lot of people are going into this expecting The Conjuring, and this movie is not The Conjuring. It's not. It's nowhere near it. It's, like I said, it's decent, but it is nowhere near that level, and it is nowhere near The Conjuring even in terms of style. in terms of style, it's a lot closer to something I like Insidious more than The Conjuring. I think that if you go into this movie with an open mind and not expecting The Conjuring or anything along the same lines of The Conjuring in terms of story or quality or style, I think you'll actually not be too disappointed with this movie. It's an average horror movie. I think that in a few years it will probably end up being forgotten along with a ton of others, but that being said, it's still enjoyable for the moment. Overall, I'd give Annabelle a 6 out of 10. It's a decent horror movie. It stands on its own, even if only barely. And if I was going to recommend anything, I'd say see it in theaters. One, just for the audience, because the crowd I went with, the crowd was fantastic. They were very responsive, and I love that in a movie. I love going to opening night movies for that reason. Go see it with a crowd, and bring a date, because if you bring your girlfriend if she gets scared by horror movies, because she'll be like clinging to you the whole time. As I said, Annabelle, 6 out of 10. Could have been better, but I wasn't very disappointed. That's all for this video. If you like this, like or comment or subscribe down in the thing below. It's October. I'm wearing my Phantasm shirt. October is my absolute favorite time of the year, and so like I said in my last video, I will be trying to my best to upload a video every day. So until tomorrow, guys, I'm Lee, and
spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.